Welcome to the show, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. I'm here with Sean of Capital Concepts. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I did my first loan with you. I don't know if everybody knows that.
You did?
Yeah, it was my first real estate investor loan, sitting on the couch in your office.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. I think I could buy like 50 of these, right? You're like, this dude, this nonsense. Like, how many times do you hear that? Like some guy sitting on the couch, like, I'm going to do like 100 of these a year.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. We were talking about before the show, we're like, what do we call this show? And we had some choice words to say about how fast the market is moving. And it's like, you got to pull the trigger fast.
Okay.
The deals are out there. You got to move.
Exactly.
You got to move quick.
You got to move.
So I'm driving Rob's Jeep because the guys have my truck down in Corpus Christi. I don't know, we have $1 gazillion in real estate, but we can't afford to buy a truck around here. Anyway, so we're waiting on our cyber trucks. One of them's actually for here in the office. So nice. We have a truck at the office, and then Rob and I have one. Anyways, so I'm driving Rob's Jeep, and he calls me, and he goes, "Hey." I said, "Is this kind of weird? You're calling me in your truck?" I don't know why I thought that was funny. But anyways,
right?
Like, you're calling me in your truck. So I said, "What is it?" He goes, "Hey, you need to text Blake." I'm like, "What do I need to text Blake about?" I talked to him like 3 days ago. He goes, "Well, there's this deal in Freeport, and I think we won it." And I'm like, "Okay." So I just texted him like, "Hey, I want that deal in Freeport." And then he calls me, and he goes, "Hey, man, this is kind of what's going on." And then you and I were talking about this whole Freeport thing. So,
right.
like, got to pull the trigger, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's they're moving fast. That's I can't tell you how many people I talk to, and then I'll get them set up. They'll give me, financials, and I give them the green light and the little pre-approval and say, all right, you're good to go. And, the next thing they know, they're coming to me and they're going, "Man, I'm making offers on deals I'm seeing." I'm like, "Okay, well, tell me a little bit about what you're seeing." I'm like, "Well, I saw this one, and, I ran my numbers, and then, they next day or so later, I'm like,
What do you mean, day or so?
Yeah, I'm like, that's your problem. You don't have a day.
Yeah, so I ran my numbers, and I talked to my wife, and I called my real estate mentor, and then I thought about it some more, and then I went to Home Depot and priced wood, and 4 days later, the house is gone, and you're like, uh-huh.
Yeah. I said, you have hours at best.
Yeah, at best, you've got hours, you got to move.
Yeah.
So this morning, I'm staying in one of my Airbnbs until my house in Spring Branch is done, which is taking forever. But anyway, so it sounds really awesome to own a construction company and work on your own house until you realize your own house is the last one to get done, right?
Right.
When you have a couple of funds and you got apartments and all that stuff, this guy's house is the last one to get done. So anyways, we're finally putting windows in. We finally made the windows order. Anyway, so staying at this house in west side of town, and this morning, jump in Rob's Jeep, and I look out, and there's this guy, this F-150, next door. The house went on the market Thursday last week. So the house next door goes on the market, and this was like Thursday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm studying for my real estate agent license because we're going to build this EXP team and all this stuff. Anyway, so I'm studying, which really means I'm sitting there drinking. That's really what that means.
Right.
So I'm sitting there studying, doing the tests and all that stuff, and I look out the window, and I'm like, oh, geez, they must have had 5 or 6 showings between like 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon until like 9 o'clock at night. And then, and it used to be a rent house, so it's vacant. They can do showings all the time. So then Friday, there's a bunch of showings. And then Saturday, I just happened to be running around the neighborhood, and they had an open house. And it was like a frenzy. It was crazy. And then I see the agent pulls up all the yard signs, and I see a couple more showings, and then I don't see anything at all. So I keep telling everybody, good agents list on Thursday, take highest and best by, close of business Monday.
Yeah.
So lo and behold, the guy next door was like, I said, "Hey," I just looked at him, and I was like, "This guy, he's got the silver clipboard. This is the inspector." I could tell from a mile away. Drives an F-150, couple years old, and he's got a silver clipboard. I said, "So you doing a survey?" He goes, "Yep." Or not, they're doing a survey. Doing the inspection? He said, "Yep." I said, "This house hadn't even been on the market a week." He goes, "I know. They're going so fast at this price point." He starts telling me, all his real estate. So I just said, "Oh, wow, it's really interesting. It was for sale and all that." So he said, "Yeah, man, they're gone in a matter of hours, a day or two. It's just getting crazy."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that house before Hurricane Harvey was a $140,000 house. They listed it at $229,000. So what's that? 3 years?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So if you're waiting,
yeah,
it's 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, yeah. You can't.
You can't wait.
No.
It's
going to continue to go up. So I mean, I don't understand. That's what I tell them. I'm like, what exactly are you waiting on?
What are we waiting for
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. To go higher? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that'll happen.
It's going to happen. Rates going to go up eventually? Yeah.
Yeah,
that'll
maybe.
happen.
Although it looked like rates went down this week.
They did. They ticked back up a little bit actually this morning, but they're kind of just now daily just
Kind
doing
of bumping
this.
up and down.
Yeah.
How do y'all's rate locks work in an environment like this? How does that whole process work when you're doing the long term? So you guys do a ton of different types of lending.
Yeah.
You guys are all kinds of cool stuff.
Correct.
But you guys are really good at the hard money piece. So some investor goes out, buys a house, needs a ton of work. Y'all lend them the money to do it. And then they fix the house up. And then while they're fixing the house up, you guys are getting them ready for a long-term refinance.
Correct.
So as soon as they get it fixed and they get a tenant in there, and then bang, we can do the rate and term refi.
You got it.
So how does the rate lock work in an environment like this right now?
I'm watching it daily, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So typically when I get them in there, I give them the option right then and there. When I get them, in other words, prepared for the refi, I go, here's today's rates. Do you want to lock it in? And then I'll typically do a 30-day, 45-day lock, whatever I need to do. It's typically 30 days. And then give them the option and then make it crystal clear. If you do not lock,
We don't know where this is going to be.
this rate could definitely change, and it will change daily,
Yeah.
but it could bounce up and down. So, it's your call. And of course they always tell me, well, what's your crystal ball? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
And you go, man, if I could predict rates,
Yeah.
we would be picking out what color plane to fly today.
Right.
Right.
That's right. That's
it's kind of
exactly
funny.
it.
It's like, can you predict the 10-year treasury? And it's like, yeah, if I had a different colored plane to fly every day of the week, right?
Yeah.
You would be a billionaire at that point. So
right.
there's a lot of smart guys trying to figure that out, right?
Yeah. Just tell them, here's your options and, go from there.
Yeah.
But rates are still,
So cheap.
yeah, it's still crazy.
What are you doing 30 years at for an investor?
It's still in the threes.
A 3%
Yeah.
mortgage
Yeah. They're still
for
in the
an
threes.
investor.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And even the portfolio stuff is not bad. I mean, I did looking at one for a customer. Now he's doing a cash out and a couple other little things. We're doing a blanket loan for him, but it's a 30-year fixed, and he's going to buy it down to in the low fours.
That's a portfolio. That's a commercial
Loan, throwing it in an LLC, not looking at his tax returns, 30-year fixed rate, and he's going to get in the low fours.
Great. And you know what? I don't think those rates are going to go up.
No.
There's so much
No.
freaking money out there. They've got to
Exactly.
put it to work.
I don't think those will. I think your conventional,
Yeah.
Fannie Mae kind of stuff will. But
So you just mentioned LLC, no
tax returns.
no tax returns. Give them your contact information, because if people are listening, they're like, "Wait, what? What is going on here?"
Yeah. So reach us phone 713-651-9500 or the website 4smartmoney.com. That's the number 4 smart money.
So, and like I said, I did my first loan. I think I did my first 3 with you guys.
Yeah, you did a couple, and then our exact conversation was after your third. You said, I need to fast track this and buy multiples all at the same time. And then we started talking about how to figure out lines of credit and doing a couple things. But yeah,
it was you and Ashley Patton give the best story, because you kind of always forget where you start. But whenever I'm at a party somewhere, Ashley starts telling the story too. He's like, "Let me tell you the first time I met this dude," and his ridiculous nonsense. But anyways, you guys are fantastic to work with. It's been a great relationship. So, one of my favorite stories is it was funny. Blake was doing all those flips in Westbury.
Yeah.
And I beat him to meet the wholesaler in Westbury. I mean, and he lives 3 blocks over, right? At least back then did.
Yeah.
And I contract the property, and he comes in, he's all sweaty. I'm like, I thought you were at the office. Where you been? He's like, I was looking at an apartment complex. And so I said, well, I got it. Do you just want to lend the money? I goes, yeah, I guess that's okay. So all right, we get back from the break. We'll talk more with Sean at Capital Concepts, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Welcome back, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. I'm here with Sean at Capital Concepts. Give him your contact info again.
713-651-9500, or the website is 4smartmoney.com, the number 4 smart money.
Perfect. So we were talking about Freeport and Surfside.
Yep.
So this is how I got into Surfside. I was just, you know, piddling around on MLS one day, probably sitting in my hot tub. I've actually done Facebook Lives before. Jason in his hot tub buying real estate. If you guys look on Facebook, they're there somewhere.
They're there.
I don't do them on YouTube. And then we had this whole idea of hot tub networking. And if it's like most networking events, it's like 9 guys and 1 gal. And I'm like, we're not doing that.
Yeah, this is weird.
This is weird. If you guys go to real estate investor networking events, it's like 90% dudes.
Yeah.
So like, we're not doing hot tub networking at Jason's place. Anyway, so I'm just sitting there and I'm cruising around on MLS, and I see this it's a 2-1 500 square foot beach house for like $380,000 in Surfside. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So I open up the listing, and it's for 4 houses for $380,000. And I'm like, oh, that might work.
Right.
So that's how we got into Surfside. We bought that. We actually got it with owner financing too. So we went down and bought those 4. We've done Airbnb with them, short-term rentals, and now I think we have 15 down there now. We're like, I got to run for office. The mayor owns a ton of real estate down there. I'm like,
Really?
maybe you got to own real estate to be mayor there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
You're working on it.
yeah, working on it. So anyways, that's how we got down there. And you guys lend down there. One of the biggest problems is
Absolutely.
finding lenders down there.
Yeah. Well, in there, no problem.
And then, Blake and I were talking about this Freeport deal, and that's always the biggest issue. Obviously you can get the rehab done, but then getting the financing for these, quote, rural markets. But like we'd said during the break, is it's like you start looking at rent rates, and you're like, holy cow, the rents down there are crazy.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's what kind of perked me up when he said that. I was, oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
They're
that's
dogs, but okay.
Yeah, they're kind of ugly, but so with you guys, what have y'all seen? What's kind of your mix right now? Is it flips? Is it rental properties? What are y'all seeing? 50-50, 40-20? What is it? What's kind of the...
Man, right now, I'd say it's almost 50-50.
Really?
I'm seeing, people that can, find the flips that, that's certainly worth doing. You can sell them.
Oh, yeah. There's no problem selling them if they're priced right, right?
Yeah. One guy that we just did and came back and listed it and was like, hey, in the span of 60 plus days between what he sold it for and what we appraised it at on the hard money, he made an extra 13, 14 grand.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it appreciated 14 grand in 60 days.
Yes.
14 grand in 60 days.
Yep.
So here's what I'm telling everybody. The HAR report came out yesterday.
Yes.
If you saw that, it was almost $50,000, right?
Right.
So the median home price is going up $4,000 a month.
Yeah.
So this leads us to some really interesting conversations. If you don't own the house you live in, you need to do that right
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. Yeah. That's a must.
Yeah, you can't, we're at the point, I used to say on the show, and you've been a friend of the show for years now. I used to say like, hey, kind of check out some real estate clubs, find one that you like, go talk to Sean, get your pre-approval done, and kind of just, mosey into real estate. No big deal, no hurry. And now I'm like, you don't have to wait.
Yeah.
You got to pull the trigger and you got to move.
Yeah. They're there, and it's just it's crazy. It's they're appreciating, and you got to get in.
So what are you seeing? You mentioned earlier one of the challenges with new investors is they're kind of poking along. Well, I might make an offer tomorrow. What other challenges are you seeing with the new investor that you guys work with?
Not having everything laid out at first. I want to get into this, but I haven't talked to anybody or sent them anything to get pre-approved, or, I haven't talked to any contractors. I don't know any inspectors. I don't, like, hey, you got a lot of homework you got to get done. Like, quick.
we got to start filling out a plan here.
Right. Because, I want to get into this, and I'm like, yeah, but you got to get these other pieces of the puzzle in place, because, and that's what I tell them. I'm like, you have literally hours at best on deals that are good to scoop them up. And if you don't have those things in place, you're never going to get them.
Yeah.
No one's even going to talk to you.
No, they've got to, when that offer comes in, you make an offer, it needs to be a complete package to the seller.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they see you're saying, yeah, I like it. Have you been pre-approved? No. Oh,
Oh, yeah, that one's going in the trash.
Right.
Because I got 4 other offers over here that are cash.
Yeah.
So
and for more than what I asked for.
yeah.
So, I'm not.
Yeah, so we're going to put you over here in the bin.
Right.
So you're more successful real estate investors. They've got a plan together, right?
Yeah, they've got contractors they've talked to that they can call. They can get out there, get them a bid. They've got inspectors if they need to do the inspections or get them done. And then of course they've already talked to me, and I've got a pre-approval in hand, and so they know exactly what they can get, how much. They know they can toss it at me, and in a matter of minutes I can look, run numbers, go, yep, here you go, and they can pull the trigger like they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that pre-approval is good for any property, right? It's not like they got to get a new pre-approval every offer they make.
Absolutely, it's TBD.
To be determined, right?
Right.
Actually, how long are your pre-approvals good for?
I kick them out usually for about 90 days.
Okay.
And then after that, I don't re-pull credit. I don't do any of that. I just, look, call me back up. Still got a job? Yep, great. You didn't go out and buy a boat? Anything crazy? Yep, okay, great.
You didn't buy a Lambo, right? No, no Lambos.
Yeah, no Lambos. You didn't go crazy with your real estate investing, and now you're a good.
Didn't get a divorce or anything like any of that crazy stuff that affects your financial picture. And then you just send out another pre-approval letter.
Yep, refresh it, and they're good to go.
And I hesitate to think how many loans you guys have done. So one of the things that people don't realize is pre-approvals are not the same from different lenders.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're working with a real estate agent, a wholesaler, that sort of thing, and they see Capital Concepts on the letterhead, they're like, oh yeah, we know Sean and Blake and all those guys over there.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah.
It's not like some weird internet. I printed off my own pre-approval and Joe Blow Bank of Oklahoma or something.
Yeah, I do loans.
Yeah, I do loans.com, right? And it's like, no, we're not accepting that pre-approval. So that's one thing that a lot of folks don't realize is you got to have a quality lender. It's got a reputation behind it. So when you send that pre-approval in, then the seller looks at it and says, oh, okay, well, this is a legit offer here, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing and just like to your point is, some lenders may just talk to somebody over the phone and gather their information and go, okay, here you go, you're pre-approved. That means nothing.
That means anything, yeah.
It's not even worth the paper it's written on.
So are you guys doing a full approval, like a full loan? You're pulling credit and everything else, so you're doing a full-blown approval.
Everything. And if they're doing full doc, I'm getting tax returns, pay stubs, bank statements. I'm every bit of it.
Every bit of it. Okay.
Yeah, and if they're doing a portfolio loan where I don't need the tax returns, fine. Just credit score and money in the bank, and
off to the races.
You got it.
Okay. Give them your information again, because I know I just heard. I could hear in my ear here, no tax returns. I'm like, yeah, for a portfolio loan. I'm
Absolutely.
Like, it's out there.
Yeah, great rates. Yeah, 713-651-9500 or the website for smartmoney.com. The number 4 Smart Money.
Perfect. So wild market. It seems like everybody I talk to, I've been going to every single networking event like in the last 30 days. I'm like, how's it going? And people are pulling their hair out, right?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. I don't know what's going to happen next. And what I keep telling folks, I'm like, I don't see an end to this for another couple of years.
Yeah.
It's just not going to stop.
Well, and even at that, it's just get in.
Yeah, let's just go.
Get in. Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry about, the crystal ball or trying to figure it out. Okay, fine. Get in now. And, the market's going to do whatever it's going to do anyways.
That's right.
You're not going to stop it. So just,
right.
If you keep waiting, what's the perfect time?
Yeah, there is no perfect.
You tell me.
Yeah,
when is the perfect time?
It's kind of funny. You tell me of no experience. You tell me that's done 2000. You tell me when the perfect time is, because I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I'm going to keep buying just on my just guessing.
On the off chance that the perfect time is today.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
When we get back from the break, we're chatting more with Sean, Capital Concepts, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Welcome back, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. I'm here with Sean at Capital Concepts. They do, best way to put it, they do all kinds of stuff. Hard money, long-term financing, portfolio loans. I remember when Blake was really starting to churn and burn his real estate portfolio. How many doors does he own now? Do you know? It's hundreds. I don't know what the actual number is.
Yep, I don't know.
Truth be told, I don't think he probably knows either.
That dude probably does.
So he's like us. It's like, I don't know. I own a bunch.
You want it? Yeah, I'll buy it. Yeah.
Buy it. I am did you ever have this dream when you were in college? I used to have this dream all the time. Like right at the end of the semester, you go to check grades, and there's that class that you swear you dropped, but you didn't drop it, and you get an F, and you're like, I was never there. I swear I dropped it.
Right? Yeah.
I have had that happen with houses before, Or like I get this call from title like, hey guys, okay, so we're closing this one today. I'm like, what's that address? I'm like, I don't remember. What house are you talking about? And then somebody in the office,
Nothing on this house.
I know nothing about it. Did I say to buy it? And somebody in the office is like, yeah, you said it was a great deal. I'm like, I don't even remember. They're like, is everything taken care of? They're like, yeah, just go down to Patton's office and just sign the paperwork. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. So, or it does get that way at some point. It does get that way, but not with loans. We don't do that with loans.
Yeah.
It's a little more structured there.
Yeah,
on
a
the
little
loan
more
side.
structured. I wish it was an open checkbook like that. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd be a lot busier.
Yeah, no kidding. So what are you seeing appraisal-wise? How long is it taking to get appraisals done? Hard money's probably pretty easy, but on the long-term stuff, how's that working out?
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I mean, they're just so covered up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, so it depends on the area. So, you know, Houston, you know, I can typically get one done in about 10 business days.
Mm-hmm.
You start going to, you know, Freeport or whatever on the longer term deals. I mean, you know, I'll get it done. It's just, you know, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, but you know they're getting done. It's just, you know, it is what it is. They're just slammed.
So how the appraisals work for folks, there's an appraiser pool, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
You guys don't get to pick the appraiser.
No. So there's a pool of appraisers that we've hand selected, and it goes on a rotation. And so it's just a round robin of some sort that they have ordered through an appraisal management company that we don't own, and they turn around and sign it. And
this is how everybody has to play by these rules, right? Because this came out of the 2008, 2009 kind of debacle, right? It's like you can't pick your appraiser, so you have to go through this blind pool, if you will, and you just kind of get what you get, and everybody's kind of in the same pickle barrel, if you will.
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody does the same thing, you know. So they've got their, you know, maybe their pool of selected appraisers, you know, 5, 10, whatever it is in their particular area, and then they order it from them. And sometimes all those guys are full, you know, and then sometimes they come back and say, no one's taking it. Do you want to go off of your pool? And then I've got to determine whether or not I want to do that, or, you know, not often, but it does happen.
Yeah.
But then those guys, I have zero relationship with. So
Right,
it's just,
yeah.
Then I really have no clue.
Yeah, you're like, all right, we'll see where this goes.
Yeah. But in a market like this, I don't even care, because it's
so crazy. By the time you're refining, it's picked up another $10,000, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane. We're, you know, the one prediction that we made was on rents. I was actually talking to Blake about this earlier this week, because we started talking about inflation, because I did some video on inflation, so he started texting me. And I didn't expect rents to come up as fast as they have. Like I thought that would be another year or two, maybe 3. But the fact that people who would normally be buying homes are now getting pushed out of the market every month, and the eviction moratorium, for lack of a better term, is still kind of in place in a soft sort of manner.
Right.
So I'm in a Houston landlord group, a really good group of guys. There's probably 10 guys in there. There's probably a total of 10,000 doors in there, right? And so it's constant complaining, especially about Harris County, about how they can't get evictions through.
Yeah.
And some of these guys are just at their wits' end with these local judges. Like they are just like, this is getting old, dude. They've not paid rent in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like,
It's insane, I know.
so less rental properties on the market, plus those rental properties appreciated. Owners are selling them, so it's putting pricing pressure on leases, and leases are going up.
Yeah. I wouldn't have expected them to go that quick either. It's surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't wait.
No. Yeah. Don't wait. You know, they're there. It's just, you gotta pull the trigger.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, you sit on the sidelines, you're gonna certainly be kicking yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just, you gotta jump in and do it.
You know, I've done a couple of events this year where I'm actually speaking at our event tonight. And one of the things that I found with a lot of folks is I'll ask the question, hey, how many of y'all wish you bought less real estate 5 years ago?
Right.
And everybody laughs just like that. And I'm like, okay, raise your hand if you wish you bought more real estate 5 years ago. And everyone goes, of course. So I'm like, why do you think that's going to change?
Exactly.
It's not going to change.
No, it's not.
So what are we waiting on? I just don't get it. Like we're
Yeah, that's my biggest question to when someone is sitting there and well, I'm waiting for this or waiting for the right deal. They're in front of you all day long.
Here, let me explain to you what the right deal is.
Yeah,
Does it
this
cash flow? Yes. That one right there. Cash flows? Okay, that's the right deal. How about this one? That's the right deal. They're
Yeah.
all, and like you said, they're out there.
Yeah, you just got to get in there, get in the game because man, it's going to pass them up.
I got to tell you, I want to say 95. No, not even. Maybe not that many. 90. Let's call it 75, 80% of the deals I'm doing are on MLS or from wholesalers.
Yeah.
I'm just now the other 20 or 30% are you guys watching the radio show, then sending me a thing like, "Hey man, I might have a deal for you," and I'm like, "Okay." So I realize if you don't have a radio show, it's hard to replicate that, right?
Right.
But 75-ish% is literally just going on MLS and saying, "Oh, I like that one. It cash flows. Let's buy it."
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is that they'll even come to me and ask, where are you seeing properties? I'm like, MLS,
HAR.com.
right? Or you can.
Are you familiar with that website? They've
Yeah,
got
and
billboards all around town.
Exactly. I'll give them, some of the, wholesalers
Yeah.
that I know. And say, hey, yeah, here's a list of them. Just go get on their list. You're going to get bombarded.
Yeah, they're going to light you up.
Yeah.
And then my favorite response is, well, when I look at the prices on MLS, it's not a deal. I'm like, well, it's called a negotiation.
Yeah, that's not set in stone.
It's not set in stone. It's not like CarMax. You got to take the number and, or leave it.
right.
You negotiate a little bit. And, but here's the other thing I say too, is I'm like, just keep in mind that house is appreciating $3,300 a month.
Yeah.
So if the numbers aren't quote close, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. Wait a month.
Wait a month. Yeah. When you buy it,
Then you're going to be fine.
and then you fix it up, and then by the time you refinance it, it's already going to be worth $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 more.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's, I keep telling them the same thing, give it a month and then, okay, so maybe you sunk just a tad bit more than what you quote unquote wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay. Give it a month and you're square.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Give it 6 months, you'll be fine.
Right. In the year, you're going to be going,
Yeah, this is great. One thing I'd always recommended, and I think this is something you would probably agree with. Let me know if you don't. But buying these properties, and then if you run out of cash, like you need some more reserves, that sort of thing, just wait and then refinance them, take the cash out, and go buy some more.
I'm doing that right now.
No kidding.
One borrower I just did, he bought it, and we did so he bought it hard money, refied it. 8 months later,
Refight it again.
I'm refining it. He's pulling out. It's not, but
Yeah, 10, 15 grand, not like a huge amount of money, right?
Right, but he closed 3.
Yeah.
So we're doing it with all 3 of them. So now he's going out and he's like, oh, this is great. He just loaded up. Now he's going out and
I was
buying
going to go
more.
get some more. All right, when we get back from break, we'll talk a little bit more about that strategy. It's Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. Welcome back, Jason Bible, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. I'm here with Sean at Capital Concepts. So, yeah, a lot of guys will say, well, I've only got 50 grand or 100 grand or whatever, and I can only buy 5 or 6, whatever the number is.
Right.
And then I always say, well, okay, well, let's just buy them, and then we'll refinance them. And then when the value comes up enough where you can take $10,000, $15,000 out of these things, refinance them again, and let's go buy some more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. In a market like this, it's you can absolutely do it. And I'm doing them.
Yeah.
And it's, they're pulling the cash out and reload and
Go on to the next
rinse,
one.
repeat.
Yeah, it's no more difficult than that, guys.
No. A lot of people want to make it way more difficult. And it's not. You just got to get in there and get after it. It's just, it's that simple. Let the other people that are involved in the transaction do their part and their jobs.
Yeah.
And then, you just kind of learn as you go, and that's what I tell everybody. Look, do 1 or 2 of these, you're going to get, it's, especially if it's a wholesale deal, it's like drinking through a fire hose. So it's going to be, got to close in 7 days. So, title, appraisal, everything's getting thrown at you. But, for the new person, I'm like, look, just absorb it as much as you can. Then we'll review it after it's done. I'm going to tell you to sign here, and then I'm going to review it with you, and then you're going to see how good this was. And then we'll go do it all over it again.
Yeah, I think a lot of people miss that. Whether you're brand new or you've been doing this 20 years, no one trusts you to do a deal.
Right.
So let me explain what that means. Nobody trusts your numbers. That's why we hire an appraiser.
Yeah.
Nobody trusts your rehab. That's why you need to get a real contractor to give you a number. The title company doesn't believe anybody owns any of this. That's why they do all their title research.
Right.
The surveyor doesn't believe what the property, where the address is and the beats and bounds and all that other stuff. So you don't get to make any decisions here.
Yeah.
Like your only decision, are you buying or you're not? Yeah. Everybody else who is a professional in this process will tell you whether or not what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
It is the most crazy business model I've ever, people. Steve Davis asked me this week, he goes, I was on a show and he said, how'd you get into real estate? I'm like, well, it's the simplest business to get in right out of the gate because nobody believes anything. but you get all these professionals around. They go, oh yeah, man, it's worth this. It's the address. It's right. It's going to do this much in rehab. Okay, do you want to do the deal or not?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, if all you guys say it's we're good to go, then let's go do it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you got all of those stop losses, in throughout the process, I mean, you're in good hands.
Yeah.
You just gotta pull the trigger.
Just gotta pull the trigger,
That's
like the theme of today's show, right?
That's
You just
right.
gotta pull the trigger. It's no more difficult than that.
It really, it's not. And then, like I said, you get one or two under your belt, and then you learn the process of it, and then you start seeing it, and then try to fast track it. Then go get your line of credit and go buy 100.
That's right. Yeah, you get 100 of them. It's no different to buying one than buy 100.
That's right.
It's no different. It's funny. We're going through right now. We're writing a book, and we're just using all of our old emails and stuff, and I'm putting it all together. And I'm seeing a common theme here. Very few of them have anything to do with actually talking about a deal. It's all like mindset stuff. So I'm like, is this book going to end up as like a mindset thing? And I'm like, it almost is, because there's something. I don't believe people believe it's that simple.
Right. Oh, absolutely. I'll have engineers that I do loans for, and oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they're like, wait a minute, they can't grasp if I'm buying it, at this, and you're loaning off of an ARV, do I have to come up with that amount of money, the difference? No, I'm lending on a on a
real asset.
Right,
Yeah,
on a real asset, on an after repair value, verified with comps that are in the area on the rehab that you're going to do. And they're like, okay, and I mean, you could almost hear the wheels turning, and they're going.
You can see that hamster running.
$10,000 for this?
Yeah.
Or they just can't compute.
Yeah.
But I'm buying it here, and I've got $40,000 of equity. Yeah, that's right. It's a hell of a deal. If you're not going to buy it, by the way, I am.
I'm going to buy it. I'm going to contact this guy, and I'm going to buy this thing.
Right.
What's so funny is that I tell everybody, I'm like, the hardest part about this business, especially people who are very smart, is they're not good with the waiting.
Yeah.
It's buy and wait.
Yeah.
So I love talking to really smart guys. I'm like, I get it. You're a genius. You're a doctor. You're an engineer. You went to MIT. You went to wherever, right? You're Harvard. Oh, you're Ivy League educated, right? Great. Okay, so let me explain this to you real simple. You wait.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of that commercial. Was it FedEx or UPS? Where the guy's sitting down, he's in this nice suit, and he's talking to this lady, and she says, hey, do you know how to mail something or something like that, or use the UPS website or something like that? He goes, yeah, I can do that. And she goes, well, do you know how to do it? He's got, well, I have an MBA. And she goes, okay, well, let me show you. Like, just fill it out. Like, it's that simple. Even an MBA can do it.
Right.
It's almost that point where it's like, yeah, it is that simple. You just buy and you wait.
Yeah.
But it just fries their brain because they're like, wait a minute. There's no, like, it doesn't take my ego and collective genius to make this thing worth more. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
No.
You just buy it and let the market do its thing.
Yep.
And then you just go to the next one and go to the next one and go to the next one.
That's it.
The hardest part is just getting you to go do it.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of people will want to, and I understand, you want to understand it, and of course, that's what I explain to them. I'm like, depending upon the deal that we're getting, if it's like a wholesale, I'm like, I'm going to throw a lot of stuff at you, and it is going to be a short period of time to try to understand
you've got
all of
like
this.
2 weeks or less. It gets crammed down the pipe because you got to close. It's a great deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to lead you down the wrong road. So once we get that done, and then I tell them, look, we'll go over everything, but it's there. If you got 30 days, then of course I'm telling them step by step
Right,
and,
right.
and explaining it all to them. But that's just it. A lot of people just want to just, why does this work this well, okay. I can explain it, but I need you to close in 3 days.
Yeah, I can explain it, but we got to get going here.
Yeah. I need to know for sure that you're going to do this.
Yeah, because you got some earnest money at risk here.
Right. Yeah.
So, and it's not like the questions aren't unreasonable, but it's like, hey, we're sprinting now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and none of it's there's I don't mind the questions at all. I mean that's my job is to answer all of them. But yeah, it's just let's get this, and then once you get them done, get one under your belt, then you'll start seeing it. We'll go over all of it. But yeah, it's.
It's one of the reasons we didn't get into real estate coaching. We got into like a mastermind, which is really a work group, because one of the things I realized when I was doing all that real estate coaching is it's like you can coach and answer questions all to death, but it's like, hey, at some point you got to get up and ride the bike.
Right.
You've got to get up and do it.
Yeah. And
we're going to cram so many deals down your throat. Oh, this is what we do. I'll tell you guys a little dirty secret about the master. You'll love this, Sean. So we give our members of the mastermind right of first refusal on everything we contract, on all the single family in Houston.
Nice.
So we send it out to everybody and say, if you don't take this, Rob and I will. Now here's the dirty little thing that we do. Rob and I will then buy it, and then we will do a case study and show everybody and basically rub it in their nose and say, why didn't you buy this? And then everyone goes, oh, God, you got to be kidding me. So then you send out another one. They go, okay, well, all right, I'll take this one. So it just gets to the point where we're just browbeating these people into wealth. It's like, it's terrible. I'm going to drag you.
I'm going to drag you in.
I'm going to drag you into being a millionaire in real estate. It's terrible. It's like we got a sweatshop up there of millionaires just beaten to death. But yeah, it's like, dude, it's no more difficult than buy and just sit on it and wait and do some more and more. You're going to run into roadblocks.
Yeah.
Like anything, but
Yeah.
it's not like they're unsolvable.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you'll definitely, you're going to run into roadblocks, but okay, you have outs.
Yeah.
You always got outs in this.
Yep. So first step, get pre-approved with you. What's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
713-651-9500 or the website forsmartmoney.com, the number 4 Smart Money.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being in. Thanks for
bet.
starting my career, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Seems to have worked out.
Yeah. I think you've done okay.
I think I'll do okay.
I think you did okay.
I'm gonna do okay. Mom and Dad they're not worried anymore. So all right. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will be right back.